The most important thing in this industry or in India right now is how do you build trust, right? And building trust, one of the factor is also that you have to say no sometimes, right? You cannot just say yes to revenue all the time.
And I think it's very important that people start focusing on retention rather than मेरा revenue इतना है, मैं ये प्रोडक्ट बेच रहा हूँ, अब टर्मरिक के बाद इलायची बेच रहा हूँ, राइट? लाइक यू, दैट नीड्स टू चेंज. वी नीड टू बिल्ड कंपनीज बिकॉज दे आर नीडेड टू सॉल्व प्रॉब्लम.
लेट्स अज्यूम आपके पास 6 कॉन्सेप्ट्स है, राइट? कि ये 6 में से कुछ भी चल सकता है. दिस इज द बेस्ट टाइम टू इवेल्युएट इन द वर्ल्ड. मतलब अपने ह्यूमन हिस्ट्री में इससे ईजियर टाइम था नहीं. पहले बंदा क्या करता है कि अभी प्रोडक्ट बना नहीं है, मार्केट पता नहीं है, कोई लिया नहीं है, और मैं यहाँ 3 दिन से लगा रहा हूँ, लोगों क्या लगाऊंगा? अभी लोगों से फ़र्क ही नहीं पड़ता.
नाइस. आजकल सबकी एक बड़ी इनसिक्योरिटी है हेयर फॉल, हेयर लॉस, रिसीडिंग हेयर लाइन, बॉल्ड स्पॉट. हर किसी को ये होता ही जा रहा है क्योंकि हम सबकी लाइफस्टाइल बहुत बेकार हो चुकी है. तो इसी की वजह से वी कॉल्ड एंटरप्रेन्योर्स हु आर बिल्डिंग एन एंटायर स्टार्टअप इन द कैटेगरी विच हेल्प्स यू रीग्रो योर हेयर. उन्होंने ये स्टार्ट किया अपने कुछ दोस्तों के साथ एक्सपेरिमेंट करके, और स्टार्टिंग में जितने लोगों के साथ एक्सपेरिमेंट किया सबको रिजल्ट्स लेके आ गए वो. विद इन 3 months उनके रिजल्ट्स फैसिनेटिंग थे. उनकी वजह से उनको फंडिंग भी मिली. उसके बाद उन्होंने ये मिशन बना लिया कि इंडिया में हर किसी को इस प्रॉब्लम से वो छुटकारा दिलाएंगे. एंड उनका सोल्यूशन सिर्फ प्रोडक्ट्स लगाना नहीं है, उनका सोल्यूशन प्रोडक्ट्स है, डाइट है, सप्लीमेंट्स है, और बहुत सारी चीज़ें का कॉम्बिनेशन है जो 360 डिग्री में आपको हेल्प करता है. एंड दैट वी हैव स्पोकन इन टुडेज एपिसोड कि ऐसे कौन से प्रोडक्ट्स हैं जो वर्क करते हैं, ऐसी कौन सी चीज़ें हैं जो वर्क नहीं करती है. क्यों दुनिया में हर कोई एडवर्टाइज़ करता है कि मेरे जो बाल हैं वो बढ़ जाएंगे इस प्रोडक्ट लगाने से, बट नहीं बढ़ते. ऐसी क्या क्या प्रॉब्लम्स आती है जब आप ऐसी चीज़ में स्टार्टअप बनाने की कोशिश करते हो जो इनसिक्योरिटी के ऊपर ड्रिवन है. ऐसी चीज़ में स्टार्टअप बनाने की कोशिश करते हो जिसमें हज़ारों लाखों गिमिकी प्रोडक्ट्स हैं, तो आप ट्रस्ट कैसे जीतते हो अपने ऑडियंस का. इन सब के बारे में हमने बात करी है. वॉच दिस एपिसोड टिल द एंड, क्योंकि ये एपिसोड सिर्फ हेयर रीग्रोथ के बारे में नहीं है. ये एपिसोड है कि आप ऑडियंस को ट्रस्ट कैसे दिलाते हो. ये एपिसोड है कि आप मार्केट में, एक्सट्रीम क्राउडेड मार्केट में एक स्टैंड आउट होकर ब्रांड कैसे इस्टेब्लिश करते हो. आप अपने इन्वेस्टर्स से एक बहुत ही डोमिनेटेड कैटेगरी में पैसा रेस करके अपनी खुद की कंपनी कैसे खड़े करते हो. उन सब के बारे में हमने बात करी है. एंड ऑल्सो वी हैव टॉक्ड अबाउट कि टाटा क्यों बना, स्टारबक्स क्यों बना, और ऐसे आज के ज़माने में हम और आप ऐसी ब्रांड्स कैसे बना सकते हैं.
What you, and we have like 10 things that we have done through our journey where we have not seen a US company and copied that in India, or not listening to investors because they are going to do what worked for a Mama Earth, that playbook cannot work for Traya. And that has been like a zero grounding principle for Altaf and me since day one. And we've sort of broken a lot of myths.
So you said, अभी हम लोग बात कर रहे थे कि there were 10 things which you did differently, and like in just an example, maybe not 10, maybe 5, maybe 12, I don't know, कि ऐसे 10 चीज़ें थी जो you said कि लोगों ने बोला कि US में ऐसा चलता है तो कर लो, मामा अर्थ में ऐसा चलता है तो कर लो, किसी दूसरी ब्रांड ने कर लो. क्या चीज़ें जो आप लोगों ने डिफरेंट करी?
So bunch of things, right? Like I could talk about early days where we were just trying to figure out the concept, to even when we had like probably 10 employees, right? Early days, Saloni and I, we were just starting up. We had like one particular person who was kind enough to join us, and 3 of us were there, and our ambition was कि यार 100 लोगों को खाली हमें ट्रायल मारना है.
100 लोगों को ट्रायल मारना है.
हाँ, मतलब we need to see कि if people would buy us or not. And we would start selling on Facebook, and everyone said कि Facebook से ही लाना है, यहाँ से लाना है, तुम्हें पहले क्लियर करना है. अब we started thinking कि ठीक है Facebook से आ रहा है whatever, but कहीं दाल नहीं गल रही है. So I was traveling from in local train from Goregaon to Andheri, and मैं बैठा हुआ हूँ, and luckily एक बंदा बाजू में बैठा जिसको हेयर लॉस का प्रॉब्लम था. So मैंने मोबाइल खोला, I started, आपने त्रया ट्राई किया, मेरे हेयर फॉल है, और अंकल ने बोला नहीं, and then he logged in and he ordered. I'm like, ये भी चलता है, right? So that was my first learning. Now, how did I replicate that? Was we actually till that time we were never calling people up.
Okay.
We said that people in this thing requires a little bit of trust.
Yes.
Right? And how do you create trust for a company that people don't know? Our ethics is right. We want to give the best scientific solution. पर उसको तो सपना नहीं आएगा कि भाई this is the right thing, right? So, so we said like, let them people fill up the form and let me call them up. And we were very small and hungry, so we started calling them up, and that's how the whole calling thing started.
Yeah, in fact, our 0 to 1 CR monthly revenue journey in the early days happened through a sales team.
Okay.
Because Traya is very different, right? You have to come on the website, take the hair test. We don't sell a single product. You have to buy the plan. And everyone told us कि, like another example, right? 8 प्रोडक्ट 5 प्रोडक्ट कोई नहीं लेगा, 1 प्रोडक्ट बेचो और शैम्पू तेल बेचो, तेल बिकेगा. बट क्या तेल से मैं रीग्रोथ कर पाऊंगी? क्या शैम्पू से मैं रीग्रोथ कर पाऊंगी? वी डिड ऑल काइंड ऑफ क्लिनिकल स्टडीज एंड वी हैड टू सेल 5 प्रोडक्ट्स टू एक्चुअली रीग्रो हेयर. सो द अल्टीमेट पर्पस वाज नॉट कि 1 मिलियन बॉटल ऑफ ऑयल बेचना है. द अल्टीमेट पर्पस वाज, कैन आई ट्रीट 1 मिलियन इंडियंस फॉर देयर हेयर and solve their problem? And for that, if I have to sell 5, I'll sell 5. ठीक है, early days में sales रखना पड़ा, right? A lot of people told us, बेचना है तो Amazon पे बेचो, website पे नहीं बेचो. But a core chronic problem like hair loss or diabetes or thyroid, we strongly believe cannot be solved by buying a single product from a marketplace or picking up a product from the store, right? Because the first consumer insight we got when we started off, and we had a cohort of 55 people, and this I'm talking about even before launching the brand Traya, right? Like मतलब हम initial days 55 लोगों का cohort लिया, and this was after Altaf regrew his hair. It was like a personal sort of journey, and we thought that we have something that we have identified by mixing Ayurveda, allopathy, nutrition. We want to take it out and see, does it help other people? So we put out a landing page in 3 days. Got a cohort of 55 people, and with this 55 people we literally purchased things from market of whatever our doctors prescribed. So हमने box बनाया, भेजा, and first insight that came in was that even though the right treatment is given, the problem is adherence. Because 5-6 महीने लगते हैं इन chronic diseases को to see results. अगर मैं उनको बोलूँगी डाइट चेंज करो, आयुर्वेदा खाओ, वो 10-15 दिन में रिजल्ट नहीं आने वाला है. Now if I have to tell someone to use something for 5 months, I need tech, community, support, coach, this entire ecosystem. I need a platform. And that is what we decided to go ahead and build.
But overall, to build on our point, right, and connecting to the first point, that how a company can be innovative in its own way, on its own way. In early days, I used to mention one particular thing, right? Like Indian Janta is very unique on its own way.
Okay.
We eat our burgers, we eat our pizza, we also eat pasta, which are half cooked. What is that word called? Al dente, right? Al dente, which I learned like 3 days ago, by the way. But at the same time, our pasta will have that spiciness, our pizza will have that XYZ.
सबको इंडियन एक टेस्ट होगा उसमें.
हम इंटरनेशनल है, बट हम फिर भी इंडियन है. And the companies need to speak that thing, right? Like I cannot directly copy or be inspired by a company in Europe and US and everything. I need to Indianize it. I need to have that consumer insight to make it sure that it works for those whole things. And I think any person who start, and if I had to do it again, and I've made my mistakes, but if I had to do it again, what I would do differently and make it more innovative would be यार कि first 50 दिन तो मैं कुछ करता ही नहीं. मेरा जो प्रॉब्लम है ना, वो लेकर वो 50 लोगों को जाकर ऐसे ही पकड़ कर बातें करता कि भाई क्या कर रहे हो, what is happening, how are you doing, whatever this thing. I think if I had done that, no, I would have saved my 9 months. But wouldn't you agree on that?
Yeah, I think gathering consumer insights and pivoting to those insights and applying those insights is critical. And that's when so you're not married to an idea. You are married to a problem, to a space, right? When you're starting, you don't know what it will end up to become. That ultimate goal and problem is what you are clear. You know कि हाँ यहाँ है तकलीफ.
Okay.
And then you start sort of doing everything to reach there and eventually reach where you are.
But okay, so I have a very different question on this. कि the hair care market is so big. मतलब इंडिया का it's thousands of dollars, it's billions of dollars. Every supplement, oil, shampoo, just तरह के ointments, or I don't know, इतनी सारी चीजें सब तो same ही claim कर रहे हैं. Everybody is claiming the same thing. Then do you think are they claiming because they just want to play on the insecurities of people and to increase their market share, or do you think कि किसी में भी result ही नहीं है? Because if results है और वो claim कर रहे हैं तो फिर इस product की जरूरत ही नहीं पड़ती. ये सोचा कैसे कि इधर आऊँगा?
Do you want me? Yeah, sure.
Do you see bald people?
Yeah.
Do you still see people balding?
Yeah.
Right.
I have a male pattern. It's wild right now.
Starting you on Traya today.
I have a crazy family history of bald male patterns. Yeah.
Right. So we were there, right? Genetic hair
So
loss is...
it's not we are still there. It's genetic. मतलब अभी भी है यार.
Right. The problem is there, and people, nothing out there is working. Right? People have now started believing that it's a part of, like, you cannot do anything about it. Right? Like, it cannot be reversed. It cannot be regrown.
Yeah.
Is what people have started believing, because nothing out there works. Now, if you look at all those products, they are products. And that is where I go back to my point that a shampoo alone, a ointment alone, a supplement alone cannot solve, because hair loss is very complex. It has internal root causes, and जो आपके लिए काम करेगा वो अल्ताफ के लिए काम नहीं करेगा, जो अल्ताफ के लिए काम करेगा वो मेरे लिए काम नहीं करेगा, because मेरा gut और मेरी disturbed sleep could be accelerating my genetic hair loss, versus for you it could be your nutritional deficiencies or a high pitta dosha. So the treatment has to be very different. अब आपको हर कोई एक ही supplement बेच रहा है तो वो कैसे solve करेगा?
तो okay, now that's a brilliant point. Then how are large companies allowed कैसे वो हर प्रोडक्ट पे अपना लिख देती कि इससे भी हेयर ग्रोथ होगी, इससे भी हेयर ग्रोथ होगी.
So one
कैसे कोई शैम्पू पे लिख सकता है यार ये लगा लो हेयर ग्रोथ से कर सकते हो यार. एंटी हेयर फॉल शैम्पू, एंटी हेयर फॉल ऑयल.
So very interesting thing, right? Anti hair fall shampoo, the governments, there are few state governments who don't allow shampoo to write anti hair fall shampoo.
Okay. Right.
So if you are manufacturing in Gujarat or Maharashtra, government doesn't allow you to write anti-hair fall on your thing. Because that comes under Drugs and Magic Act or some act like that, right? Like where it is leading, which is not true, right? But if you go to other states where it is the law in naming is a little relaxed, there you can probably manufacture and write it as anti-hair fall shampoo or whatever.
So next time you see a hair fall shampoo, see the state, और वो कहीं हरियाणा में होगा, चंडीगढ़ की स्टेट होगी, क्योंकि वहाँ लॉ अलाउ करता है.
वहाँ लॉ अलाउ करता है. Nothing wrong, right? Like it's a clause which government is trying to change.
Another loophole that a lot of brands work with is hair fall is like a vague term now also spoken to hair breakage. So if my hair is breaking from between, that also is considered as hair fall by these brands, and they say when we say we control hair fall, we are actually making your strand stronger and reducing your hair fall.
Oh, from the root.
But they have nothing to do with what's happening inside.
Ek simple, just getting a little technical, right? Shampoo is a composition of a thing called surfactant.
Yeah.
Right? Surfactant is something that is used also in dishwasher. Right? On the chemical level, except the softness and harshness of the chemical, there is not much difference. Now imagine if you start using surfactant of dishwasher and it starts getting absorbed, right? The chemical reaction is going to be crazy, right? Shampoo cannot be absorbed by your skin. That is the basic purpose. But in any case, I think we are diving too much into Traya.
No, it's okay. I like that. I want to go deeper. I wanted to understand causes of hair fall and stuff, because I have seen this problem around my friends, my family. It's like very crazy, okay? And there's always a question कि सब लोगों ने the moment you said, लोगों ने believe कर लिया ये treat नहीं हो सकता, रहने दो, एक time पे जब बहुत चलाएगा hair transplant करा लेंगे. You know, that's the major belief. So do you feel कि hair transplant कराना चाहिए hair growth? Like what's the...
So, depends on what stage you are, right? So, hair loss has stages. Stage 1 to stage 7. Stage 1 to 4 is where you still have active follicles. मतलब ऐसे सोचो कि प्लांट सूख गया बट रूट है, मैं पानी डालूंगी, ट्रीट करूंगी तो रीग्रोथ होगा. So very good regrowth results can be achieved from stage 1 to 4.
And especially if you are young.
Yeah, age is an important factor. 40 ke niche and especially 35 ke niche, so it's amazing time to pause your hairline where it is, recover the loss that has happened. But अगर आपकी एज ज़्यादा है तो आपकी बॉडी की रीजनरेटिव पावर कम हो जाती है. सो रीग्रोथ करना टफ हो जाता है. ऑल्सो आपके कॉलेज में हेयर लॉस हुआ था और अब आप 40 में ट्रीटमेंट लोगे तो वो फॉलिकल डेड होके सील हो चुका है. सो नो मैटर व्हाट ट्रीटमेंट इन द वर्ल्ड यू अप्लाई, तब वो रीग्रोथ नहीं हो पाता. सो एवरेज एज ऑफ people who come to Traya is 27.
Interesting. So
right, and to add one more point to your question, right? Like if Traya or transplant, I think even Traya says sometimes कि यार मेरे से मत लो, transplant करवा लो. As a company policy, we understand the most important thing in this industry or in India right now is how do you build trust, right? And building trust, one of the factor is also that you have to say no sometimes. Right? You cannot just say yes to revenue all the time. True. So stage 5, stage 6, we try to say no as much as possible.
Yeah, the website will tell you we cannot sell you anything.
Wow, that's interesting. So straight up, the website's gonna tell.
We'll just like politely, we cannot of course say
we do not like the recommendation for every other person is a treatment, but for a stage 6 person, it is content, helping them no other options, saying that a treatment right now might not be the right fit.
Interesting. Okay, tell me like one of the last questions on the bit of hair growth and stuff, and then we move to the business side of things. Because so I want to know the major thing कि ये India में भी all of a sudden ये receding hairline, male pattern, all of these things are मतलब ये बढ़ते जा रहा है बहुत ज़्यादा, baldness बहुत हो जा रहा है. तो इस थिंग कि डू यू थिंक इंडिया के वेदर की वजह से हो रहा है कि हमेशा से था कि अभी बिकॉज अवर लाइफस्टाइल चेंज हो रही है उसकी वजह से हो रहा है? क्यों ऑल ऑफ अ सडन बहुत सारे मार्केट में प्रोडक्ट्स भी हैं, गूगल ट्रेंड्स पे सर्चेस बढ़ चुकी हैं, हर किसी को. इनफैक्ट डर्मैट्स, आई नो डर्मैट्स, दे हैव चेंज देयर लार्जली देयर बिजनेस फ्रॉम स्किन टू नाउ हेयर बिकॉज दैट्स वेयर द मैक्सिमम प्रॉफिट्स फॉर देम इज. सो दे हैव जस्ट चेंज्ड एवरीथिंग. सो ऑल ऑफ अ सडन ये लास्ट 4-5 years में इतना कैसे बढ़ गया है? क्या हो गया है कि ये वेदर की वजह से बढ़ते जा रहे हैं कि अवेयरनेस बढ़ रही है? क्या हो रहा है? लाइक व्हाई इज इट हैपनिंग? व्हाई एवरीबडी सो नाउ ऑल ऑफ अ सडन कि यार शिट मेरे बाल जा रहे हैं, मुझे चाहिए वापस?
See, the thing with genetic hair loss is that आपके दादा को भी था, आपके पापा को भी था, आपको भी है. बट दादाजी की जो हेयरलाइन 60 पे थी वो पापा की हेयरलाइन 40 पे थी और आपकी 25 पे हो रही है. अब तो शादी भी नहीं हुई है, राइट? सो दैट इज अ मैटर ऑफ फैक्ट, डेटा. Average age of Traya customer is 27-year-old, right? People in their 20s are now balding. Right? So, in fact, 2 in 5 men, according to statistics, are balding. Bam. Right? Which is like a mass problem now.
Okay.
Right? A little bit of that, major cause that a lot of lifestyle-related issues like nutritional deficiency, gut, sleep, energy, metabolism, stress, sleep, all of this put your genetic hair loss on a 10x speed. मतलब दादाजी का जो जेनेटिक हेयर लॉस था आप में भी वही प्रॉब्लम है, लेकिन आप 10x स्पीड पे चल रहे हो बिकॉज ऑफ दीज अंडरलाइंग रूट कॉजेस. और दूसरा ये भी है कि येस, अवेयरनेस, राइट? बिकॉज ऑफ आई थिंक सोशल मीडिया, बिकॉज ऑफ पीपल लाइक अस, we've been able to like go and create so much awareness and tell people that, you know, this is why it's happening, what is the science behind it. So yes, awareness.
Interesting. And do you feel that people, because there's awareness going on and definitely the cost बढ़ते जा रहा है, there are a lot of companies, they come up with new different kind of products, different kind of things just to increase their market share? Do you think that the solutions work?
So,
and I don't want to like bash on any company, but just telling you there are hundreds of new ingredients log लेके आ जाते हैं. I don't know, the major top 3 or 4 if you look at कि जो बालों में hair regrowth के लिए use the bridge something, Bringraj, right? Then there's red seed onion, there's something like apple cider vinegar, और पता नहीं और कौन से, like बहुत सारी ऐसी चीजें जो which I've never heard of. Ginger करके people have started using. So अगर
मैंने बीच में सोचा था गार्लिक करता हूँ.
Okay.
Ginger garlic paste sounds amazing, right? Yeah. Like I use it everywhere.
Put it in your sabzi.
I'll tell you a story of this customer, right? Like, and I really like talking to this guy. I will not name the ingredient just because it will make things obvious.
Okay.
Right? So he comes to us and he sees positive result and he's like, yeah, I have been using XYZ ingredient for XYZ time. और यहाँ तक गया कि मैंने सोचा कि शायद मेरे प्रोडक्ट में इतना नहीं है, तो मैं घर पे जूस बना कर उसको डालने लगा. और फिर जिम में जाता था, लोग बोलते हैं कि ये क्या है, मतलब why are you dripping off XYZ ingredient?
Yes.
And
you're smelling bad.
And whatever those things are. And then finally I discovered कि probably नहीं होता. अभी simple understanding है यार. Like let's say ginger, right? Let's assume कि someone is trying to do an ingredient over ginger in a shampoo or an ingredient thing, right? It might be positive, it might be negative, whatever. I don't think I'm qualified enough to comment on the efficacy of a particular ingredient. But think in one simple term that we are Indians who use ginger in everything.
Yeah.
Right? कि मतलब जितना absorb कर सकते हो उतना तो मैं खाने में डाल ही दूंगा. Right? Now you could argue कि शायद भृंगराज में X हो, भृंगराज में Y हो. Now that particular data is backed by Ayurveda. So I cannot debate it. Right? Like I would say कि yes, probably if Bringraj is saying that the whole thing is. But even when you go into Ayurveda texture and say कि Bringraj से effect होता है, it is very clearly defined कि कैसे उसको use करना है. Right? Basically, it would say not just in terms of कि उसका paste use करना है, whatever. It would also tell you how do you need to prepare that paste. राइट कि 6 घंटे रखना है, 4 घंटे रखना है, कौन से भाव में करना है, कौन से ताप में करना है, कौन सा इंग्रेडिएंट उसके साथ मिक्स करना है टू इफेक्टिवली यूज इट, व्हाट काइंड ऑफ पाउडर, कुड इट बी पाउडर, कंकशन, solvent, whatever those things are. So it is very well defined into those things. Any person who is looking into it and using it has kind of a clinical data to back it up.
Okay.
I think overall anything that has enough clinical data should be validated, right? Like, and honestly, I want more people to be into this bandwagon, right? Like my whole thought process in this whole bit is कि यार problem है. And the problem kind of affects people existential thing, right? Like a confidence effect hota hai, whatever those things are. This could be a start for a new thing, right? If people are focused on a honest ingredient, honest solution, this could be a start, might lead to much better companies, better solution for different diseases as well, right?
Also, I think I want to add that because you mentioned about Ayurveda scriptures, right? A lot of things have to be consumed.
Okay.
Right? So for example, if I eat Bhringraj, Amla and Arjun and we use it in a herb form, आप उसे खाते हो का बहुत different आउटकम होता है, देन आप उसको 10 मिनट के लिए एक शैम्पू में लगा के पानी डाल रहे हो. सो व्हेन somebody takes out a Bhringraj from that story and puts it in their shampoo and puts it on their packaging, then it's not going to give you what you need, right? So understanding, and especially with hair loss, it's an internal problem. It is not a cosmetic problem जिससे मैं कुछ सिर्फ लगा के hair regrow कर लूँगी.
Let's go to the people. Let's say somebody wants to become an entrepreneur and उनको start करना है, and D2C is comparatively the easier form of getting into entrepreneurship comparatively to all the other places, right? And if you look at markets in US or UK, there are thousands of products which come every week and they sell also. Like it's just so, मतलब वहाँ पे एक shelf नहीं है कि Unilever dominate कर रहा है या L'Oreal dominate कर रहा है. Still these guys are dominating, but still there's a large majority of so many smaller D2C brands as well. They're doing super well. इंडिया में अभी तक वो ज़्यादा हुआ नहीं है. There's not like large D2C brands जो बनी है who can even test out the time of these large MNCs, right? So what should people do in order to build brands जहाँ पे they can have like a good significant chunk in the market share? Like क्या करना चाहिए, कौन से एरिया में घुसना चाहिए, कौन सी specific maybe solution लाना चाहिए? Like what do you think is the gray areas where people can build businesses?
I think Saloni is the best person to answer. I will not even attempt this question.
So I feel that the thought process that मैं क्या next products launch करूँ, X amount बनाऊँ और घर बैठ जाऊँ is a very different thought process, which I don't even want to sort of spend time to explain or promote in any way.
Okay.
Right? I think the thought process that is needed is that what are you trying to solve? Are you bringing something to the table which is not yet there? So, right? So, number one, efficacy, results. Number two, it's not just about the first sale, but it is about retention. Is your consumer coming back and purchasing from you? Because the way the D2C performance marketing is laid out, it's just going to get more and more crowded. So if you're making your first sell, it's going to get more and more expensive to make your first sell as we progress, right? So it's very important that you have that strong stickiness in your solution that gets people back. And I think it's very important that people start focusing on retention rather than मेरा revenue इतना है, मैं ये product बेच रहा हूँ, अब turmeric के बाद इलायची बेच रहा हूँ, right? Like that needs to change. We need to build companies because they are needed to solve problems. And that's like something that I sort of, as a principle, is very close to our heart. And that's why...
Yeah, it's so I agree to what you're saying, okay? But sometimes it's so difficult to just find out problems there, but you still want to be... there's a whole... I'll tell you where I'm coming from, okay? Earlier, when there was our parents' generation or grandparents' generation, what they used to do, they used to become entrepreneurs out of situation.
Agreed.
कि यार कोई ऑप्शन ही नहीं है, कहीं जॉब नहीं लग रही, कोई कुछ नहीं दे रहा, तो हमें घर तो चलाना है, कैसे करे कुछ तो शुरू कर देते हैं, कहीं तो होगा. तो out of situation, out of force. Now people are becoming entrepreneurs out of choice, out of aspiration. अभी सबके पास previous generation ने एक standard life दे दी है. There are enough jobs if you're skillful. If you're skillful enough to even think that you can run a business, you can get a job, right? तो मतलब अब बेसलाइन सॉल्व हो गई, तो अब लोगों को आउट ऑफ चॉइस दे आर बिकमिंग एंटरप्रेन्योर. अब वो गलत तो नहीं है, ठीक है, एस्पिरेशन से लोग बनते हैं. तो अब इस टाइम पे प्रॉब्लम ढूंढना इज सो डिफिकल्ट. राइट टाइम ऑल यू ट्राइंग टू डू इज यार मार्केट में गैप कहाँ पे, कैसे
सो this is very interesting point that you have made, right? Like I think initially, if you look 20 years ago, the choice of entrepreneurship was never a choice. It was यार किधर नौकरी नहीं मिल रही है, इसलिए I have started like and it could be anything, like कपड़े की दुकान बेच रहा हूँ,
और बिजनेस फादर का सन बिजनेस में जाएगा,
but
right? Like because it's traditional in the family.
Probably, that's the thing. Now when there are so many options, so many people who are trying to do it, I think how I would look at it, right? And if you are thinking, यार मेरा mind made up है and I want to do something in a in business itself, first I would break it down in terms of which particular business relates to me the most, right? Or which industry relates to me the most. If it is D2C, it is B2B, it is software, it is hardware, whatever those things are, what can I do for next 10 years? Right? Like the basic principle is, right, like a company from 0 to 100 is going to take 10 years. Like very few lucky people are there, or let's not call them lucky, let's call them exceptional, who can turn it around within 2 years, 3 years, 4 years and get out of it. End of the day 10 साल लगने वाले हैं, right? तो अगर 10 साल मुझे कुछ करना ही है लाइफ में, I need to be 100% sure that I'm going to enjoy it. Second thing very important is कि problem अगर figure out हो गया है कि भाई ये industry में करना है, तो second most important thing is कि co-founder लेकर आओ, right? क्योंकि यार अपहिल वॉर है और उसमें डर लगेगा, कभी ब्रेवनेस आएगी, पर जब डर लगेगा तो बाजू वाला बोलेगा ना कि यार डर गया क्या, you will have that courage to fight a little more, right? Very important. And once you have these two things, if you are figured out कि ये industry है, तो industry को अक्खा dissect कर लो, right? I would give an example from my time in US, and I was meeting a company and they were doing very, very core engineering stuff, right? Like basically जो टावर कंपनी होती है, सो पहले हर एक टाइम में हर एक इंडिविजुअल मोबाइल कंपनी के टावर्स होते थे. दिस गाय सेड कि दिस इज इनएफिशिएंट, राइट? कि तुम सब अलग अलग कर रहे हो, एक अगर मैं कंपनी बनाता हूँ कॉमन ग्राउंड पे, तो वी कैन शेयर द रिसोर्सेस, इट वुड बी चीपर फॉर एवरीवन. एंड द गाय डिड इट and it made sense कि no single cellular company would do it. It was like a common thing. Made decent amount of turnaround and everything in probably $1 billion or so. Now, how did he come up with this idea was not actually looking at the tower company or the mobile company. What he did was he would go into engineering conferences. And while the managers were speaking, he would go out and speak to the core engineers who were working on the issue, right? And finding the core problem, कि problem है किधर, right? And you can mimic the same thing across every industry, right? Let's assume if you talk about D2C, right? Like, why should a person do D2C? Because it is easy access to give out to majority of people. Now, let's dumb it down a little, right? Like, my ability is to give out to whole of India. I say forget those part of it. खाली एक city पकड़ो. Let's say आप इंदौर से हो, इंदौर पकड़ो, right? Now the advantage of picking up इंदौर is कि इंदौर में let's assume 5,000 store है या 1,000 store है. The chances of me being put across, let's say 1,000 में से 100 store is higher. So my brand visibility is higher. I could do a phenomenal YouTube marketing on a smaller sect. And that would add value for every dollar I spend, the viewpoint would be higher.
Yeah.
So if I had to do something in D2C itself, I would actually not think in terms of कि मैं India में छा जाऊँगा, but actually put up a small audience, small thing, validate my concept, and once it is there, then I go whole India, right? That is one way of doing it. Second way would be कि let's assume आपके पास 6 concepts है, right? कि ये 6 में से कुछ भी चल सकता है. This is the best time to evaluate in the world. मतलब अपने human history में इससे easier time था नहीं. 6 Facebook page बनाओ, 6 Facebook page में 5-5 हज़ार रुपए डालो. Let the audience speak.
जिसका रोआज सबसे बढ़िया हो.
Not just ROAS, right? Analytics डाल दो. Like website पे आकर कौन क्या कर रहा है, कितना कर रहा है. You put it out in those things. I think within 10 days, with certainty, like 98% certainty, you will be कि यार ये चलेगा ये नहीं चलेगा.
इंटरेस्टिंग अप्रोच. ये अच्छा अप्रोच है कि टेस्ट करो यार, बहुत इजीली कर लो. समटाइम्स मोस्ट पीपल ट्राई टू डू मेरा टारगेट ऑडियंस कौन होगा, मेरा मार्केट क्या होगा, मैं कितने बड़े प्रोडक्ट्स डालूंगा, मेरी रेंज क्या होगी, इंस्टेड ऑफ डिसाइडिंग कि ये छोड़ 5 फेसबुक पेज बनाते हैं, घर में आधे घंटे में सब हो जाएगा और लाइक लेट्स जस्ट स्टार्ट डूइंग इट विद इन 2 days you'll get the results.
I think वो 3-day रूल होना चाहिए. 3 day में लैंडिंग पेज लॉन्च. आई रिमेंबर अल्ताफ ने मुझे 1 दिन का टाइम दिया था कंपनी का नाम और लोगो फाइनल करने के लिए. उसने कहा शाम तक मुझे लोगो चाहिए. मैंने बोला हाँ कंपनी का लोगो, लाइक शाम तक. People will not buy because the logo is pretty. Sham tak. So you need that.
The funny thing was Saloni comes from, and I also come from like I have worked in companies and everything, but Saloni comes from a very
नौकरी.
नौकरी.
जब मैं दादी माँ के पास गई कि अल्ताफ स्टार्टअप रन कर रहा है और you know he's the boy and I want to marry. By the way, we are husband and wife. So I want to marry him. He's like MBA किया है. मैंने कहा हाँ दादी माँ स्टैनफोर्ड से किया है, बहुत अच्छा है, मेरे स्कूल से भी बहुत अच्छा है, सेल किया. अच्छा तो अभी कंपनी चला रहा है. मैंने कहा हाँ दादी माँ अभी स्टार्टअप चला रहा है. क्यों बेचारे की प्लेसमेंट नहीं हुई. So that's the family I come from.
So when you said right like मजबूरी से चालू करते, I started laughing because I remembered this incident.
Okay, so this is so
and then she says my package and says तेरे पास तो नौकरी भी है. हमारी लड़की.
So she comes from a background where she's like कि okay मैं सोचती हूँ, स्ट्रक्चर बनाती हूँ, प्रोसेसेस होंगी, फिर अप्रूवल्स होंगे, and you were like आज करो 1 घंटे में करो.
But overall उससे भी ज़्यादा the point is कि when you are doing it in terms of like when you have seen a lot of things, right? And especially with a knack in understanding design and everything, पहले बंदा क्या करता है कि अभी प्रोडक्ट बना नहीं है, मार्केट पता नहीं है, कोई लिया नहीं है, और मैं यहाँ 3 दिन से लगा रहा हूँ, लोगो क्या लगाऊंगा. अभी लोगों से फर्क ही नहीं पड़ता है.
नाइस एक्चुअली यू नो किसी और ने बोली थी, आई थिंक समवन ऑन द पॉडकास्ट द सेम वे, कि लोग है ना ओवर स्ट्रेस करते हैं नेम पे और लोगो पे. वो बोल रहे कि जो सबसे आसानी से सामने दिख जाए ना सर, बोलते वो नाम काम क्या करता है उससे फर्क पड़ता है, नाम से फर्क नहीं पड़ता. सो एग्जैक्टली व्हाट यू सेड कि लोगो से फर्क ही नहीं पड़ता. इट्स इफ इट्स समथिंग really working, people are gonna remember even in their wildest dreams कि भाई वो है, वो काम करता है. How did the idea come, by the way?
I think you are the
start कैसे हुआ कि मतलब ये करेंगे दोनों ने बैठा?
बैक इन 2017 अल्ताफ फूड स्टार्टअप रन कर रहा था. मैं जॉब कर रही थी, मैरिड हिम. बहुत सारे हेल्थ स्ट्रगल्स चल रहे थे इसकी लाइफ में. आपने सुन लिया होगा, यूरिक एसिड, कोलेस्ट्रॉल, थायराइड, ऑल्सो बॉल्डिंग, लाइफस्टाइल.
यार वो लास्ट कंपनी में क्या हो गया था कि बहुत ज़्यादा स्ट्रेन ले लिया था. मतलब टिपिकल वर्किंग आवर्स वर लाइक 5 AM टू रात के 12 बजे तक काइंड ऑफ थिंग, राइट? एंड it was something where I was taking like 2 flights a week kind of a thing.
Our life,
हाँ,
same
मतलब
life.
तुम्हारी लाइफ हमारी लाइफ नहीं.
but
I
food
do
is a
5 minutes
tough
travel these
industry,
days. आपने यहाँ बुलाया, वैसा लगा कि यार दिन खत्म हो गया, इससे तो अच्छा बैंगलोर चला जाता.
So we came to a position in life where we felt कि अब वो startup चल सकता है. We got a CEO to handle it. And we both decided कि अब कुछ करना चाहिए हेल्थ का. Let's take a sabbatical. एलोपैथी में सब कुछ ट्राई किया. थायराइड डोजेज बढ़ते जा रहा है. सो निकल पड़े खोज में. अब आयुर्वेदा में तो बिलीव नहीं करते थे. मेरी फैमिली में मेरे सिवाय सब डॉक्टर्स है. तो बचपन से सिखाया गया है कि एलोपैथी के अलावा कुछ नहीं ट्रस्ट कर सकते. बट अब ऐसी सिचुएशन थी कि वी सॉर्ट ऑफ यू नो दैट थायराइड वाज द टिपिंग पॉइंट फॉर अस. उसके साथ साथ वेट गेन सब हो रहा था. सो हम एक सॉर्ट ऑफ उस पे निकल गए टू फाइंड अ सोल्यूशन टू दिस, राइट? एंड 12 आयुर्वेदा डॉक्टर के पास गए होंगे.
हाँ,
बॉम्बे का टॉप सब कवर कर लिए. पहले वाले ने तो बहुत सारा दवाइयाँ दे दी. घर आए, अल्ताफ ने पूरा पैकेट उठाया, डस्टबिन में डाला. बोलते ये चूना मैं नहीं खाने वाला. राइट? यू डोंट नो एज समवन हु इज एजुकेटेड, कम फ्रॉम अ साइंस बैकग्राउंड, टू ट्रस्ट कि वो क्या पूरी में बना के दे रहे हैं, राइट? सो इवेंचुअली हम एक डॉक्टर के पास पहुंचे, डॉक्टर शैलेंद्र, who
became a very good friend. I met him for lunch. और मैंने उसको literally lunch से लेकर dinner तक खपाया, right? Because he was the first guy who could explain me Ayurveda in terms that I could digest.
Okay.
Right? He understands the modern analogy of modern science and everything really well. So he was connecting the anatomy with Ayurveda in terms कि यार किसी को भी समझ आएगा कि अच्छा this is what it is, like the principles and everything.
फिर उन्होंने अल्ताफ को बोला let's just first fix your food, and it's not कि आपको हेल्दी खाना है, आपको हीलिंग डाइट खाना है. सो आपकी जो अंडरलाइंग रूट इश्यूज है, जो भी थायराइड है, जो भी इश्यूज है, इसके लिए क्या सब्जी खानी है, क्या नहीं खानी, क्या फ्रूट खाना है, मैं आपको एक मील प्लान बना के दूँ.
अरे इतनी दूधी खाई है भाई. मतलब
रोज लंच में हम एक गार्ड वेजिटेबल खाते थे. एंड देन 1.5 महीने के बाद हम गए. अल्ताफ ने बोला बहुत टफ है. उन्होंने कहा मैंने कहा था कि आप साथ में मेरी हर्ब्स लोगे तो ईजी होगा. तो अल्ताफ ने बोला मैं नहीं खाऊंगा आपका चूरना, आप मुझे बोलो आप क्या क्या डाल रहे हो अंदर, मैं सोर्स करके. तो उन्होंने 33 की लिस्ट दी. अल्ताफ ने जाके खरीदा, मिक्स किया, बनाया, साथ में खाया. 3 महीने में अल्ताफ का थायरोनॉम डोजेज 125 से 25 गिर गया. वो एंडोक्राइनोलॉजिस्ट भी सरप्राइज्ड. वेट बैक इन कंट्रोल. ओवरऑल सारे हेल्थ पैरामीटर्स स्टार्टेड कमिंग बैक इन कंट्रोल. एंड वी रियलाइज्ड कि फूड कितनी पावरफुल चीज़ है, राइट? लाइक दवाई साइड में रखो, जस्ट फूड इटसेल्फ इज सो पावरफुल टू हील यू. was something that was like a biggest learning for us. And this is what we say as holistic, right? Like doing all together, right? And as an outcome, इस पूरे प्रोसेस में बाल उग गए, राइट? सो व्हाट अल्ताफ वाज डूइंग, जो डर्मेट दे रहा था बहुत टाइम से वो कर रहा था, बट जब वो उसकी बॉडी वो रीजनरेटिव फेज में गई, जब दोषा बैलेंस आया, देयर वाज लाइक अ क्लियर हेयर रीग्रोथ. एट दैट पॉइंट वी हैड नो आइडिया वी आर गोइंग टू एवर स्टार्ट अ कंपनी, राइट? बहुत सारे फ्रेंड्स ने पूछना शुरू कर दिया, बाल उग गए, अच्छा दिख रहा है, क्या हो गया, मेरी शादी के लिए मैं लड़की देखने जा रहा हूँ, मुझे भी दे दे. और हमने सबको डॉक्टर शैलेंद्र बहुत बिजनेस दिया हमने. हमारे डॉक्टर से मिलो, हमारे डॉक्टर से मिलो, जिसको जो प्रॉब्लम है, डायबिटीज है, हमारे डॉक्टर से मिलो,
सब हमारा डॉक्टर सब है. नाइस.
आई थिंक देयर वाज दिस वन पॉइंट समवेयर इन January 2019 where we were discussing that how people are not able to do this because it's so complicated. डर्मेट के पास भी जाओ, शैलेंद्र के पास भी जाओ, डाइट भी करो, it's so complicated. लोगों के बीच में confusions आ रहे हैं, अब मैं ये करूँ, अब वो करूँ, there's no guidance, and there's like, and we started seeing some results in our friends. So we thought, let's do one thing, let's do this with 55 cohort, and that's where the 55 cohort came. 3 दिन में लैंडिंग पेज बना, गूगल ऐड डाली, तो फेसबुक भी नहीं आता था,
Okay.
गूगल ऐड डाली, 55 कस्टमर लाए.
और वो गूगल ऐड वाला भी आइडिया, मतलब नाउ आई थिंक हाउ स्टूपिड दैट आइडिया वाज कि गूगल एड्स में हम एक्वायर करने गए कस्टमर. By the way, anyone
Expensive route.
Very, very
Facebook is way better. We
expensive
have not
route.
tried Facebook for the
Well,
longest time.
once you are a larger brand, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
Google is phenomenal,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Like,
but
when
early days-
early days
I
में
know.
वो suicide है.
So 55 लोगों को लेकर आए और डॉक्टर शैलेंद्र को बोला अब इनको कंसल्ट करो, आपकी दवाइयाँ बताओ. अब
And-
डॉक्टर शैलेंद्र की जो हर्ब्स थी वो ऐसे नहीं है कि एक अश्वगंधा खा लो, एक अर्जुना खा लो, उसमें 155 हर्ब्स होती है और सबके लिए अलग अलग होती है.
हाँ.
सो वी रियलाइज्ड कि ये कुछ करना पड़ेगा. लाइक
हम्म.
डोमैट का तो बहुत सिंपल था. बेस्ट ब्रांड्स जो थी फार्मेसी में गए, 55 खरीद के ले आए. जो प्रिस्क्रिप्शन थी हम खरीद के ले आए. आयुर्वेदा के लिए हम एक घूमते घूमते डॉक्टर शैलेंद्र हमें ले गए एक फैक्ट्री में पंचगिनी, और वहां जाके हमने इतनी इतनी बर्नी भर के टैबलेट्स बनवाई अकॉर्डिंग टू 55 की प्रिस्क्रिप्शन.
Oh.
घर आके ग्लव्स पहन के उनको पैक किया, एक ब्राउन बॉक्स में सारी चीज़ें डाली, 55 कस्टमर्स को भेजा और उनके साथ 5 महीने काम किया. हमने डिसाइड किया हम और कुछ सेल नहीं करेंगे. 5 महीने हम देखेंगे डू दे फील एंड सी व्हाट अल्ताफ फेल्ट, राइट? एंड आई थिंक एंड ऑफ दैट, this was somewhere in end of 2019, we had out of 55 35 beautiful before after pictures जो हमने एक deck में डाला, and I think that got us our seed funding later.
Damn.
So that's
interesting.
But that the reason why I feel कि that 6 months, right? I think it was November, October to December, whatever. Like first 6 months we did that. That particular 6 months gave us more insight than the whole 3 years. Right, in terms of, because we personally would have spoken to those 55 people on and on again, understood कि क्या क्या problem आएगा. I know exactly कि person A, where does he keep this medicine, and his adherence will increase. Right, कि अगर वो डाइनिंग टेबल, अगर रोज ब्रेकफास्ट करता है और फैमिली के साथ रहता है, अगर डाइनिंग टेबल पे रखेगा उसका एडहेरेंस एटलीस्ट 25% से ज़्यादा होगा. वर्सेस कि वो दवाई अगर उसके वार्डरोब में रखेगा, वार्डरोब में भूल जाएगा वो. राइट, सो दिस ऑल सिंपल नुआंसेस, अंडरस्टैंडिंग व्हाटएवर दोस थिंग्स आर, व्हाट आर द वरी, व्हाट आर यू रीडिंग, लाइक व्हेन यू गेट इनटू दिस थिंग्स, राइट? लाइक गूगल, एज मच पावरफुल इट इज, इट आल्सो गिव्स यू अ लॉट ऑफ रैंडम नॉलेज. राइट, क्योंकि एक किसी ने आर्टिकल लिख दिया और तुमने रीड कर लिया, यू विल स्टार्ट थिंकिंग अबाउट दैट. यू नीड सम काइंड ऑफ असिस्टेंस वेयर यू से कि बॉस डोंट वरी, दिस इज सॉर्टेड.
So, okay, now that you have given this, by the way, fascinating story of idea, because I was just thinking that what differentiates certain founders from, like a different cohort of founders. And mostly if you look at most of the people who have been able to successfully go from stage 1 to stage 2 or stage 3, they all have similar some story like that, which is clearly backed on consumer insight. और उन लोगों ने कुछ ना कुछ किया होता है बहुत क्रेजी सा. मे बी इट्स अ पर्सनल स्टोरी, मे बी इट्स अ कोहॉर्ट स्टोरी और व्हाटएवर, बट सबका एक स्टोरी होता है. इट्स नॉट जस्ट लाइक अनदर पैकेज प्रोडक्ट किया और बेच दिया. इट्स ब्यूटिफुल. योर्स टर्न्ड आउट टू बी वेरी नाइस. नाउ you have massive consumer insight, and I'm sure that because your company started out of 55 people's insight, now you guys would be very crucial about every insight even today out of all the people who you look at, right? Our data analytics background मुझे बता दिया पहले ही, और you have a wild analytics. What have you noticed about India? कि Indian customers कैसे different है लोगों से? क्या है, क्या चाहिए Indian customers को, ऐसा क्या चाहिए which can make entrepreneur's life easy, if there are 2-3 things which you have noticed?
So if you talk to, I'm taking liberty of assuming, right? If you talk to most of the D2C founders, they would say discount. I actually disagree.
Yeah.
Completely disagree.
Okay.
I think there are many brands who have created brand in terms of sheer quality, right? Not giving a single discount, not running the buy one get one offer, and doing honest business and doing this thing. I think what the consumer wants is value for money. And the value for money, people have understood in terms of discounts. I feel the consumer want is कि भाई मैं अगर कुछ दे रहा हूँ तो I'm getting the best for it. Right? And there are a bunch of examples, right? Like there is a earphone company Noise, right? And and they have been existing forever.
Yeah.
I recently came across their
Amit
whole
Gaurav,
bit, and that's phenomenal. I end up buying a product as well, and I'm like, "ये सही है," right? Or value for money. It's not discount or anything.
Yeah.
Right? Like the product cost is that.
I agree. People want quality. People want result. फिर वो उसके लिए they are okay to. So price sensitivity is not.
Value for money is the game.
Value
Price
for money.
sensitivity is not a question if you have actually built a good product.
मतलब, like just to add to this, like of course, India being a country and the way our income is laid down, we do have a little sensitivity to price. But I'm saying at a par, right? People just underestimate the amount of money that Indians can spend.
Okay.
Right, like think in terms of one simple thing, India demography, right? Like we are 27, 28-year-old people. Most of us are either single or just married without kids. All of us have some kind of assistance from some family member, some other thing.
Yeah.
Most of the guys living in cities have double income and not single income.
True.
Now, when people say कि यार average salary 25,000 है, 27,000 है, 30,000 है, that is all true. But if you remove Bombay and you go to a town in, let's say, MP, यार standard of living में 25,000 में बहुत सही मिलती है.
True.
Right? Like ऐसा नहीं है कि तुम खर्च कर दे रहे हो तुम्हारे 25,000. You have like a saving as well.
Yes,
and I've lived in towns, right?
Yeah,
like so I understand that point.
So you feel now that like, you know, disposable income and like just the ability of people to spend more is increasing because they are making more money now, and there are more people contributing in a family and there are less responsibilities. That's why people want to buy qualitative products, and that's the reason why they're going for that, right? So I had a question on this. In fact, two questions on this. One was, it's very entrepreneurship question, like your is very result based product कि भाई रिजल्ट दिखेगा 5 महीने चलाओ, नहीं दिखेगा ठीक है बाय बाय, दूसरा प्रोडक्ट ले लो. व्हाट अबाउट अदर प्रोडक्ट, जैसे वी टॉक्ड अबाउट नॉइज, वी टॉक्ड अबाउट अदर थिंग्स, बोट है, नॉइज है, इनमें क्या रिजल्ट होता है? हाउ कैन पीपल बिल्ड लाइक अप्लायंसेस में या यू नो स्मार्ट वेरेबल्स में या हेडफोन्स में, इनमें रिजल्ट कैसे, हाउ कैन यू मेक लाइक द बेस्ट क्वालिटी प्रोडक्ट? बिकॉज इट्स 95% of the people who say that sound better, उनको पता भी नहीं होता साउंड 25 जगह में कैसा बेटर होता है.
I'm 100% with you. मैंने एक स्पीकर लिया, सोनोस.
Okay.
Right? And I keep on telling this story to everyone. Now, I feel for my level of knowledge that is very expensive speaker for my caliber, right?
Okay.
Like हमें गज़ल और रॉक म्यूजिक में ज़्यादा अंतर समझ नहीं आता, kind of thing. Right? Now, why did I buy that particular speaker? One was looked really cool. I went to a friend's house and he was playing it and I'm like, यार ये बढ़िया है. उसने बोला तू भी ले ले, मैंने बोला okay. That's how I bought it. Most of the purchases that happens in the market is first this. What Noise or what Boat has done phenomenally well is they have brilliant consumer insight, right? In terms of look, feel, price point, tilt, right? Like, and I think that is a very critical part, and the availability, right? Like when you are looking at a consumer, the consumer is not just about the price and everything. Consumer has a choice of buying right now. Even if he needs it, he has a choice of buying it right now, tomorrow, day after, or next year.
Yeah.
What is that particular tilt that convinces this guy to take that plunge?
Right now.
Right now, right? Now that's a beautiful science. Any entrepreneur who has nailed that has made it. Right? So if you look at Noise or you look at, I really respect what Mamaearth has done with the whole bit of it, how they have made it, their early thing was any lady going through postpartum or going through like a young boy or a young baby, it was a very strong tilt, right? Like ये product है, मेरे को order करना पड़ेगा.
Yep.
With Noise, I think they are doing a great job. I recently came across their campaign also. I think it's आवाज रुकेगा नहीं or something like that.
So the urgency, how do you create that urgency for people to just go buy that?
Right.
So I think what he's saying is it goes beyond quality and sometimes goes to your brand what you stand for and how you relate to the consumer. So for products like these, it also becomes aspirational, right? I mean, Apple is an example.
Yeah.
No matter वो ऐसा iPhone देगा जो एक साल में खराब होता है और फिर अगले साल लेना पड़ता है, मेरे को iPhone चाहिए.
Yeah.
Right? So that's...
So what are the strategies? Like what do you think? If you can think of from the top of your head, 2-3 strategies which works really well in order to create that urgency for people to buy your product.
I think urgency,
I mean, let's just not use word as an urgency. What convinces people that I need
make
it
the
now?
switch. Yeah.
Make the switch right now. Because
I think it is a very interesting question, and honestly, anyone who says that I know the exact formula is lying. मेरे को भी पता नहीं है. But overall, if I look at the whole bit, right, one interesting bit is that it is everything revolves around consumer and who's your consumer, right? And you can define a particular characteristic and you can say कि अच्छा ये time पे ये करेगा, right? So for example, when you go to a store, the right place to put, and everyone knows this, right? Like if I've recently gone to Nature's Basket and I noticed कि उसका जो chocolate का section is not there, it is there, it's down.
Okay.
Right?
क्योंकि easily pickable.
नहीं, मेरा बच्चा वो दिखता है.
Oh,
it's at our kids level.
Interesting, nice.
Right, मैं तो वो I'm pretty sure मेरा इतना तो विल पावर बन गया है कि मैं आज नहीं लूंगा वो.
हाँ,
right, मैंने चॉकलेट नहीं लेना है. बट मेरे बच्चे का नहीं बनाया हुआ, right? तो वो देख रहा है और वो बोल रहा है पापा. And I'm like in that dilemma कि अभी क्या करे, रुलाए या फिर.
Nice.
So, I think
are there any brands which you look up to? Because like कि यार कोई ऐसी brand है worldwide, it can be Apple, it can be Tesla, it can be Amazon, it can be Indian brands, whatever. Which you look up to is like कि इस brand ने ना ये चीज बहुत अच्छी करी है, मुझे बहुत पसंद है.
So I think a lot of brands, right? And I think there are specific things about those brands which I absolutely love.
So give me your favorite example and then you give yours. Okay.
So this is probably very old school brand, but like Tata as a brand, I absolutely adore and respect. The reason is here, somehow the guy has created trust, right? Like India is a farmer nation, right? Like where industrialists are the guys who's like from Mother India, we have been saying कि industrialists are the guys who जो अपना सब कुछ खराब करने वाला है. In that country, Tata comes across as this guy कि भाई this guy is only going to be helpful.
Yes. And he is, and Tata Group is the proper industrialist. Capitalist approach, great people, and still
he has that reputation, right? Like, and when I say he, right, like it's a conglomerate, but I still refer to that group as he. है मतलब एक फेस ने एक ब्रांड बनाई and that personality now is across West Side, across Tanishq, across the whole bit of it. And when you look at that guy now today, if he starts a Traya, what do you call, Tata Traya, यार बाकी सब छोड़ मैं खुद उसका लूंगा.
So क्या reason? Okay, what do you think is the reason? And we go to that. What do you think is it?
I think
ऐसे क्या Tata ने based on your understanding?
I think consistency, right? And which is consistency in behavior, consistency in delivery, consistency in accountability to the society is something that the guy has not done one day, 2 days. He has done it for decades. Right, and every product that he launches, right, like be it Titan or be it the car brand or be it whatever the things are, like one after another, he keeps on. Like I remember Tata when they first brought their car, they were not very decent car,
they were not.
But I think they have now an EV. And I know a couple of friends who left their good luxury car and shifted to that particular EV. So clearly he has arrived, right, there also. What it says is कि he didn't give up, he didn't say कि यार ये नैनो नहीं चला तो छोड़ दो, right? उसका गोल क्लियर था, उसका प्लान चेंज हो गया, बट गोल रखा एंड कंसिस्टेंटली गिविंग द सेम रिलायबिलिटी, सेम अंडरस्टैंडिंग, स्टिल लिसनिंग टू द कंज्यूमर, वर्किंग. इफ यू स्पीक टू एनी टाटा गाय, राइट, दे वुड बी सोल्ड. The most difficult people to poach are Tata boys, right? Like उसकी soul उसने खरीद ली है, and not with money, just like loyalty.
That's true, man. That's true. Okay, your favorite.
So I have two companies, newer. Swiggy and Urban Clap.
Okay.
And I'll explain, right? Go back to the time when Swiggy started. ठीक है, Zomato was the food player, कंटेंट देता था, मेनू कार्ड्स देता था. स्विगी आया, बोला गैप है मार्केट में, डिलीवरी चाहिए लोगों को. लोग, आई एम श्योर उनको भी इन्वेस्टर्स ने बोला होगा एसेट हैवी है, तब वो जमाना था एसेट फ्री होना चाहिए, एयरबीएनबी ऑफ इंडिया बनो, राइट? तो आई एम श्योर उनको भी बोला होगा एग्जीक्यूट नहीं कर सकते, कैसे करोगे डिलीवरी. डिड इट, एंड क्रेजी एग्जीक्यूशन, राइट? एंड देन Zomato followed. Again, a very good example of execution. Urban Clap, right? Saloon for home. New category.
Yeah.
Logo ne, these are the innovative things that, you know, I was talking about. This cannot happen by copying people. This can only happen if, one, you have the courage that I'll execute the shit out of it, and two, I'm going to listen to my consumer insight and deliver for it. Right? So, these are my...
Well, Urban Clap, I would also put it out, right? I think... एक particular, so in business, I'm sure like you know about LTV, right? Like lifetime value of a consumer. Now, the coffee business is phenomenal, right? In terms of the reason is because के अगर let's say Starbucks, right? तो मैंने US में भी Starbucks पिया होगा, UK में भी पिया होगा, इंडिया में पिया होगा, चंडीगढ़ में भी पिया होगा, whatever, right? Like XYZ. All together मैंने lifetime में अभी तक कुछ 8-10 लाख की कॉफ़ी पी होगी. Like because I've been drinking forever, right? Now with this particular thing मेरा LTV तो बहुत ज़्यादा है, right? उसने अगर let's assume 10,000 रुपये मार्केटिंग कर मेरे को खरीदा होता तो भी सही है. Now I used to think कि that is the business with the highest LTV. इससे ज़्यादा तो क्या होगा, probably cigarettes and everything, but ठीक है, that's a different manner. More than that, I feel Urban Clap का LTV should be higher. यार मेरे घर पे, not just मेरे घर पे, हमारे सोसाइटी में लिफ्ट जाम हो जाती है because of those guys. एक ने मसाज पे बुलाया, एक ने पार्लर पे बुलाया, एक ने हेयर सलून पे बुलाया. एंड आई एम नॉट श्योर इफ यू हैव यूज्ड देयर हेयर कटिंग वंस. सो कन्वीनियंट, आई डोंट केयर कि इधर से थोड़ा कम काट दिया, घर पे आ रहा है.
या यू जस्ट बुक इट. मेरे घर पे भी अर्बन क्लैप इज बहुत इनकमिंग है उनका. हर चीज के लिए मतलब स्क्रू, एक छोटा सा टीवी लगानी है तो वो लाइक मैं इनफैक्ट आई हैव कम टू अ पॉइंट जहाँ पे मेरे किसी मतलब फिल्टर है, अगर वाटर फिल्टर है, मैं उसकी हेल्पलाइन में फ़ोन नहीं करता, मैं अर्बन क्लैप को फ़ोन कर रहा हूँ, क्योंकि मुझे पता है कि भाई ये ऐप से हो जाएगा, मुझे नंबर भी नहीं निकालना, कुछ नहीं करना. सो अदर कंपनी का जो पूरा इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर उन्होंने सपोर्ट बना है वो भी छोड़ के मैं अर्बन क्लैप ही बुला रहा हूँ.
बट that's what's critical in an entrepreneurial journey, right? Like it's not just, they are not giving you service. The reason why it is repeat, connecting to my earlier point, कि यार तुम first कैक कुछ भी डाल दो, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. Repeatability is your असलियत. Right? The reason why you go for your screwdriver, I go for whatever, like literally पहला चीज मैं उधर ही पकड़ता हूँ कि अर्बन क्लैप में क्या मिल रहा है. The reason is कि reliability है, right? Like the service is to the quality, right? Because of that quality, it's not that कि यार मेरे को सर्विसमैन नहीं मिलेंगे, राइट? आई विल गेट 10 सर्विसमैन, राइट? लाइक इट्स बॉम्बे एंड ऑफ द डे. बट कैन आई एक्सपेक्ट दैट रिलायबिलिटी? कैन आई एक्सपेक्ट दैट कंसिस्टेंसी व्हिच आई एम गेटिंग विद दिस गाय? Which is important for repeatability.
You pointed out about coffee, and that's an insight which I remember Starbucks का, and which I was fascinated, blown by, and I was really liking that. तो Starbucks में स्टार्टिंग में क्या, उन्होंने जब Starbucks खोले, हर जगह बनाया, तो उन लोगों का रिटेंशन बहुत लो था. उनको था कि यार पर पर्सन एक आता है, स्टारबक्स को लोग एस्पिरेशन के लिए देखते हैं, 1-2 बार कॉफ़ी लेते हैं, फिर चले जाते हैं. वो लोकल कॉफ़ी शॉप है, सबका एक फिक्स होता है, राइट? तो दे रियलाइज कि अब मैं अपना पर पर्सन का जो LTV वो कैसे बढ़ाऊँ, कि वो मेरे पास यहाँ तो रोज़ आए या एक ही दिन में 4-5 बार पी ले, तो मैं कैसे करना स्टार्ट करूँ. एंड स्टारबक्स वॉज द फर्स्ट वन जिन्होंने ये स्ट्रैटेजी अपनाई, जो वर्ल्ड वाइड अब कॉपी होती है, दैट हर शॉप पे, लाइक हर कैफ़े पे अगर आप देखोगे तो पहले ना वहाँ पे बेकरी आइटम्स पड़े होते हैं, कॉफ़ी पड़ी होती है, वहाँ बाहर ग्लास से वो दिख रहा होता है. स्टारबक्स ने लोगों को फ्रंट कर दिया और उनका सारे जो मतलब केक पड़ा है, लोफ पड़ा है, ये सब पीछे कर दिया. सो अगर किसी भी स्टारबक्स में देखो, वहाँ पे लोग काम करते हुए पहले दिखते हैं. द ट्रांसपेरेंट विंडो जो आप बाहर से कभी स्टारबक्स, ऊपर स्टारबक्स से नीचे लोग दिख रहे हैं काम करते हुए. एंड द आइडिया वाज कि जो लोग उधर काम कर रहे हैं वो एक की जगह 3-4 कॉफ़ी पी जाते हैं. तो जब लोग दूसरे लोगों को काम करते हुए देखेंगे तो ज्यादा लोग काम करने के लिए आएंगे. एंड दैट इज द आइडिया दैट क्लिक्ड वेरी वेल. तब से लेके स्टारबक्स बिकेम अ प्लेस टू वर्क. And
very cool.
because,
Yeah, I didn't know about this. Very
same
very
here.
beautiful insight.
right, so because they made a place for people to work and hang out, तो उनको ऐसा था कि ऑटोमेटिकली बढ़ने लग जाएगा. सो पीपल लाइक मतलब उन्होंने अपना सिर्फ पर कस्टमर वैल्यू उससे बढ़ा दिया कि उन्होंने लोग मतलब अपने प्रोडक्ट्स की जगह लोग दिखाना स्टार्ट कर दिया. ओके, सो लास्ट क्वेश्चन व्हिच आई हैव, व्हिच आई आस्क एवरीबॉडी, ओके, इज where do you see the next opportunity in India? Like, what is that industry where you feel the big business can be built now?
I think it's a very very interesting question.
Health tech, ed tech, fintech. What do you feel like? Where do you see the next big opportunity seeing? Like, if you were not doing Traya, which industry would you go in and try to solve something?
I think climate tech.
Is the next $1 trillion industry? Yeah.
I'm not sure if $1 trillion or something, but lately, I think if it was not the love for Traya and the whole built of it and everything and connecting to the whole cause, that's something that I feel needs to be explored more. That needs to grow, right? Like other industries and everything is something that grows and fine and whatever those things are, it will help economy and everything. I think climate tech is something which is now not a good to have, it's a necessity. Right? So, and when a thing becomes necessity, it has to grow. So the next growth set will be there, but that said, India is just on steroids, man.
Yeah.
मतलब तुम कुछ भी कर लो, तुम एक्सपर्ट बन जाओ, तुम अच्छा कर लोगे. Right? Like it's crazy right now how things are. Like there are animal trading companies, right? Like in terms of with the farmers and everything. Those guys do 200-300 crore rupee revenue. Right? मतलब farmers को बेच कर आ रहे, farmers को बोल रहे तुम दूसरे को बेचो और तुम इसको बेचो, and they are doing 200-300. Like this volume of our country
Is massive.
is massive, right? Like all you need to do is find a solution and stick to it.
Interesting. You know, climate tech में एक business sense of view से भी it makes so much sense, because usually if you look at business, any business, right, either from the point of sourcing or at the point of acquisition of customer, दोनों में से एक चीज़ किसी कंपनी का स्ट्रांग होना चाहिए, राइट? कुछ तो एक चीज़ होना चाहिए जहाँ पे उनकी कॉस्ट कम हो अपने कॉम्पिटिटर से, कि यहाँ तो एक्विजिशन मार्केटिंग इतनी बढ़िया, डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन इतना बढ़िया कि एक्विजिशन ऑफ कस्टमर इज चीपर, और द सोर्सिंग इज सो गुड दैट you can mix match 500 ingredients which comes up with a solution which gets cheaper from other. दोनों में से एक चीज़ होना चाहिए. Climate tech में whoever is able to solve it, उसका sourcing is zero. Because sun, like you would not have to give charges there. Like the production cost, the sourcing cost is technically, it goes down to zero. And the moment your sourcing cost goes down to zero, your whole focus will be just one area of distribution, just acquisition of new customers. So from business point of view, it's a complex problem, but whoever solve it makes so much sense, because then you're in a game of unlimited power and unlimited sourcing power, which technically you have to pay nothing for.
No, but like to add your point, right? Like when you look at that industry, you can actually make dent everywhere, right? Like for example, in my company, right? Like our top priority right now is how do we reduce plastic utilization. Right now, and this is not just my problem. This is like we have a 2-year-old kid. Now every time we look at him, I'm like, अच्छा थोड़ा तो करना पड़ेगा, right? Like till today we were like, ठीक है, AC चालू करेंगे, ये करेंगे. अभी थोड़ा ऐसे register होने लगा है कि नहीं, कुछ करना पड़ेगा. So one of the things that we started personally was कि how do we make this a plastic zero company. One option is कि यार can I recycle that amount. Second option is can I remove plastic and work on probably metal or something like that. A friend of mine, he's working on recyclable bottles. He's saying that let me try it out if it works out. And now if he builds a recyclable bottle, that is a completely separate industry that he's going to build.
Yeah.
Right.
So there's an opportunity.
Right. So that could be an option. Second,
but do you think India is ready for purpose-led brands?
I think
India is a very solution-led and value-led brand, like a country. Do you think the purpose is going to work in India? Because US med works.
What is works according to you? 1 crore, 2 crore, 5 crore, 50 crore. How do you define
what Unilever has done? I don't know the number, like 1 billion people. Like that's the That's what you want to aim for.
नहीं, so the point is कि let's say if you start with the assumption, right, कि यार मेरे को इंडिया को बेचना है, right, आप कभी कुछ बेच ही नहीं पाओगे. Right, like what I mean by आप is like मैं कभी कुछ बेच ही नहीं पाऊंगा. The reason is कि you will always have to find the early adopter cheerleader of your product, right?
True.
Once you have those cheerleaders, तो सब कुछ कर लोगे. अभी पर्पस लेड ब्रांड में सबसे बड़ा एडवांटेज है कि चेयर लीडर्स आर नॉट जस्ट चेयर लीडर्स, वो तो स्टेज पे जाके नाचेंगे कि यार
the market is the biggest market is.
हाँ, मतलब द पॉइंट इज कि वहाँ लॉयल्टी इज नॉट व्हाट डू यू कॉल परचेज, इट इज ओनली अर्न. और वो अगर आता है then one thing lead to another कि उससे कैसे बढ़ा सकते हो, what are the stories, whatever those things are. I think purpose led brand is a big untapped market in India. You need to find like specific thing, like if I had to start today, I would start a pet food company and say कि every product you are purchasing, I'm going to adopt a dog. I think चलेगा, क्या बोलते?
Nice, that's a new idea.
Try it out.
That was gonna be my last question कि नया बिजनेस बनाते हैं यहाँ पे, what do you think is the next business gonna build? Because industry आप जो भी बोलते हैं,
Right.
मैं उस पर question नहीं बोलता कि next इस पे business बनाते हैं. You already gave a business idea.
अरे idea is everywhere.
Execution is the game.
अब Google कर लो ideas.
On that note, thank you so much.
Thanks for having
being here.
us.
Thanks for actually being candid. Thank you for watching this episode till the end. Please comments में मुझे बताओ कौन सी ऐसी चीज़ें थी जो आप लोगों के लिए स्टैंड आउट करी, कौन सी ऐसी चीज़ें थी जो आपको बिल्कुल नहीं अच्छी लगी, ताकि मैं इम्प्रूव कर पाऊँ. और ये एपिसोड एटलीस्ट एक इंसान के साथ शेयर करो जिसकी लाइफ चेंज हो सकती है इस कॉन्वर्जेशन से. ऑल्सो माई न्यू बुक बिल्ड ऑन टॉक इज़ आउट, जहाँ पे हमने बात करी है हर वो चीज़ के बारे में जो स्कूल में कभी सिखाई नहीं जाती है. निगोशिएट कैसे करते हैं, रिलेशनशिप्स कैसे बनाते हैं, अपना नेटवर्क कैसे बढ़ाते हैं, पैसे कैसे कमाते हैं, पर्सनल ब्रांड कैसे बनाते हैं. ऐसी हर वो चीज़ जो मॉडर्न डे वर्ल्ड में आज हमें सीखनी चाहिए पर हमें स्कूल ने कभी नहीं सिखाई. वी हैव कवर्ड all these topics in this book Build on Talk, which is available on Amazon exclusively.